When I think about the older people that I know that I actively talk with, the ones that are the most youthful are
Yeah.
curious and they're passionate. And I
Yep.
can speak to you about you. You're not that old, but
I'm young, 72. I'll be 72 in August. But the key thing is you got to keep your mind, your body right. The body is a temple. I say that always. If we are worshiping any God, we should be worshiping us because God resides in us. And we need to be just so clean, and that's why we take a shower every morning and all that, and look nice and healthy and eat right and exercise. So true. This is Vinny Chopra, Vinny Smile Chopra. Thank you for following me on social channels, listening to my podcast, YouTube channel, all the different channels, and also liking the podcast. Please give us a 5-star review, subscribe to it, share the content. My blogs are there. Please watch them too and read them. Also, YouTube channel, all the different ones. My Vinney and Beau show on Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific every week. And also Abundance Mindset with Vinney and Walter Amarello on Thursday live. Please enjoy this show. Thanks again for everything. God bless you. Hi there, friends. This is Vinney and Beau show. Vinny Chopra from Bay Area, San Francisco area, right here in Danville. Brother Beau, right there in Las Vegas, Nevada. Brother Beau used to live here, and now he's moved to the better state with zero taxes. Hi, Beau. How are you, bro?
doing well. I'm excited to talk about investment opportunities in 2024. What are people looking at? The nice thing about what I do is I finance a lot of projects, so I'm seeing what people are doing. Also, obviously, you work with a lot of limited partners that have money they want to invest, and you're looking at a lot of investments. So I think today is a timely conversation because we're halfway through 2024 already. What should we be looking at? What do we see other people looking at? Where do we think the opportunities are going forward with this uncertainty in the market, with elections coming up here in a few months? There's a lot of unknown, and I think what I'm seeing and hearing from my real estate people are a lot of people are looking to buy houses. There's still low inventory in the residential space. People are a little bit scared, but I still think like what's amazing when I'm selling my Indiana properties, how many people are actively looking for homes and there's low inventory. So it's almost that the difference between a recession and stagflation, from my understanding, is stagflation might impact just certain sectors versus a total bottoming overall. So I think that is, I was listening to a guy the other day, that's maybe what we'll see. We haven't seen stagflation in a long time. I don't know the actual definition of stagflation. I'm going to actually look it up. But what I think will happen based on listening and talking to people is that'll happen. We're going to have some big dips in certain sectors, probably some different commercial assets. Some of those other asset markets will do very well. And so where do we look and what are the opportunities? From my perspective, working with people, I'm seeing a lot of people that have good paying W-2 jobs, but they have uncertainty. They're also getting back to work mandates. So they're like, I don't know if I want to go back. I have others that are looking to diversify and own a business because I believe owning a business in your portfolio outperforms a lot of the other investments, although it's a little bit more work because you're owning a business with more moving parts than investing in a syndication or whatever. But I think the returns can be very good, but it has to be the right person because they have to understand it's not passive, right? So what are you seeing?
No, definitely. What you're saying is so right. I always have believed don't put all eggs in one basket. So, diversification is the biggest way for anybody to really mitigate the risk. Number one, I would say that as you are in W-2, have a side hustle, have a LLC. We talk about that so that you could invest through that LLC into some real estate again. Multifamily, I've been in it for 17, 18 years and got into now assisted senior living, RALs, and also into Airbnbs. That's the other place. I know some people boo-boo Airbnb, but that's another way to could really explore because not every city is going to have restrictions. I know it got a bad rap lately, but that's the one. Boutique hotels is another one where you could charge 300, 400, 500. These are smaller hotels in good tourist places where the occupancy can be higher. So I think those are some of the places I feel. Again, there are other ways too. I just see, the gas. I've never put it in oil and gas, but my neighbor has. But again, what's your risk level? What you want to do? Of course, stock market, little index funds is good. Relays. I mean, it's all over the place, right? But you got to, and then some people, even car wash funds are there. They are coming out. Laundromat funds I saw. ATMs, as that's another one. Vending machines is another one. Man, there are just so many. But look at your profile. Anybody who wants to invest in it, I've invested in all of them, by the way, because I like to diversify, and startups, IT startups and all that. I like to invest in those too, so that you could hit some good runs there too. I
Yeah.
know I'm all over the place, but there's so much diversification. It's all about person's personality, what they can feel comfortable with, and then you find the best of the best operators in those particular markets, interview them, research them, talk to their clients, talk to their investors, all that. Because hard money is very hard money when you work hard. And I've come to know in the last 6 months so many people who have lost 500 here, 2 million even here, and then 500 here, and oh my gosh, that 100 here. That's so sad, because multifamily got into a red ocean. People overpaid last 2 3 years, and now with interest rates being high, they cannot make the payments, and they are selling at 25% below the cost. Some of them are, because it's going to go to foreclosure if they don't really get a buyer. So a lot of unrest is going on. Rate locks, money's been raised. Rate locks is to reduce the interest rate for a year or two. It's very costly now, but $1 million, $2 million just to do the rate locks. So it's a very difficult situation in some of the commercial sectors. Of course, office is in deep trouble. Everybody knows about that.
I think also too, a lot of people don't keep anything in reserves. I think always you need to have a what happens if
Yeah,
fund. Like you always need that 6 months of overhead
yeah.
in stashed away where it's pretty liquid. You know,
Mhm.
a lot of investors don't want to like to keep cash. I get it, but like you always need at least 6 months, I think, because
Yeah,
something goes wrong, a project takes more money. We see this all the time. You have to have, and so I like what I think people should be doing, and which if I could go back and tell myself this 20 something years ago, every check you get, be very good at allocating, pay
yeah,
yourself first, profit first. If I would
yeah,
have done that, I would have been so far ahead. I didn't do it. And look, at the end of the day, you need a lot of money to retire,
yeah,
like comfortably. We're going to live longer, and at some point, you're not going to want to work. Whether that some people will work till there's 90,
yeah.
some people won't be in the health or mindset to at 70. So
Hmm.
you have to be prepared. And I think people are starting to really want to take things into their own hands a little bit more and not be so reliant on one company. If you were employed by this company, you're like and hoping for this pension. What happens if they go bankrupt and they can't do the pension, or who knows? Like you have to have backup plans
Yeah,
because at some point there could be a catastrophe you don't know. So you have to have diversity. You also have to you have to have take risks too.
yeah.
Too. You have to be able to take some risk, some educated risk, some
Hmm.
calculated risk. And I think that can grow your net worth. If you never would have gotten into real estate and you were very successful in your career, you would have been fine. You would have been above average financially, right? Because you worked really hard and you were good at what you did.
Yes.
You were still going to be ahead of the game. But to create family legacy money, you have
Hmm.
to get into different food groups like real estate investment and business ownership, two of the big ones, right? And then also making your money work for you and understanding tax benefits. And a lot of the W 2 people that do very well don't understand why entrepreneurship makes more sense with all these. That's the stuff you should be studying. Like when you're not working, like why everybody should own a business. What businesses could I invest in that's considered an active business where I can offset W 2 income?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
all this together
Hmm.
collectively, and we never stop learning. And that's what's the beauty of what we do because we have our podcast, we do the Vinney and Beau show. we're always asking people questions, right? CPAs and so forth. That's how you get your baseline of knowledge, right? And then also what you're doing, you understand larger assisted living facilities, but now you're doing a RAL, right? So there's a learning curve, right? And so you have to be able to go through this, and I'm sure you're going to learn a lot over the next 3 months, doing a smaller deal, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
ultimately, it could be very big because once you understand it, you're able to say, okay, now we can grow this. We can own 10 or 15 of these in different cities, each city, right? And you can scale and create a system around it and become a conglomerate in the business.
So true what you're saying, Bo. One thing I want to reiterate, if we don't have side hustle, it's our fault. If you're not making more money and saving on taxes legally, all that, it's your fault. I mean, one needs to really look themselves in the mirror and say, am I happy with giving 50% of my income away, to the government? And if yes, then okay, be there, right? But also, as an intelligent person, go ahead and put some time into researching where your risk level, like you said, is. And then there are so many operators out there. A lot of people, they have so much money in the retirement funds, like $36 trillion in the retirement funds. They don't know that you could take money from Wall Street, from stocks and index funds and all, and do self-directing. I just interviewed brother Damien Lupo, 401k expert, EQRP, right, for the special plant that is built in Arizona. I'll be going there actually in about a couple of months, and will be coming out to you. The frametech.com. The key thing is that we need to be vigilant what's out there. And it's every information you need is at your fingertips with AI. You just give them a little question. It's going to give you the whole game plan, what to do into any kind of business. And brother Bo, you have taken such a great big step in franchising. There are so many great businesses where you can be a little bit involved, actively involved, but operator does the work. So you could use that money as active, and then you put the losses into your against your W-2. We are not CPAs or attorneys, but that's what we understand. And you could do research to hedge the income. So same thing with real estate. You could have an operator, but you are involved. You're the managing member of the LLC that you're hiring people, but you make decisions. That's active involvement in real estate. And then you could really write off lots of expenses and all that.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, you should continue learning and doing what Vinney and I are doing. We don't stop learning. We're still reading books. We're still learning about social media marketing, creating video content, all this stuff, right? And in conjunction, if you just do this every day a little bit, right, you're getting a little bit better in all these categories.
Mm-hmm.
If you work out and do your stretching and meditation every day, you're gonna move the needle. And so, like, I realized I set out some lofty goals for video content. Quite
Yeah.
honestly, having the baby, I didn't get my goals done. And so we're halfway done with the year almost. And so now I have to repivot and go,
Mhm.
look, I'm not achieving the results that I set out to do. And it's
Mhm.
because I'm not putting the content out I said I was going to do. So
Yeah.
it's really now what do I have to do? Okay. We have to like time block that 2 or 3 hours once a week to really create more video content, because the more I share with the world, the more people will book a call. And then all of a sudden that's revenue. And like, to me, that's really fun when I can create content and then people resonate with what I'm saying and they call me
Yes.
for some advice, and before you know it, they're investing in a franchise or I'm getting them a loan and there's revenue made. And it's okay. If I know that works, why wouldn't I do 10x that until I see a diminishing return? So it's my own fault. So going forward, leverage more. If you
Yep.
got virtual assistants, you got team members, leverage, delegate, so you can hit those numbers. So I can put out consistent video content. And then what else can I do? Newsletter, all this stuff. Look, there's no excuses besides yourself. And I believe the same thing with saving your money. And I don't believe in saving money and you get a $10,000 check. 20% for tax goes into a tax bucket.
Mhm.
I think 30% or whatever goes into an investment bucket. Then the rest can be spent on your living expenses and whatnot. And if we just do simple things like that, compounded over time, right? If I start a saving, some kind of money market or investment account for my son today,
Mhm.
and I say every month I'm going to put $500 in this or 250, what, right?
And you could do automatic transfer of money from your checking account to that account. I mean, everything is so simple now, what to do and how to buy solid stocks, reoccurring in Robinhood. I love that. This way you can dollar cost averaging automatically. So lots of tools are there. We need to just click and then it's there. You got to learn, but the learning curve also is so short. That's the beauty of it, Beau, I've found. And I'm very curious, you are too. Even you're never too old to find a better solution to the mousetrap, right?
Yeah, it keeps you young.
Mhm.
Like, and when I think about the older people that I know that I actively talk with, the ones that are the most youthful are
Yeah.
curious and they're passionate. And I
Yep.
can speak to you about you. You're not that old, but
I'm young, 72. I'll be 72 in August. But the key thing is you got to keep your mind, your body right. The body is a temple. I say that always. If we are worshiping any God, we should be worshiping us because God resides in us, and we need to be just so clean, and that's why we take shower every morning and all that, and look nice and healthy and eat right and exercise. So true. So we definitely want to take charge of our destiny, and especially financial destiny is the number one thing, because you don't want to retire with no money in the bank or less money, because somebody said 65% of the baby boomers are going to need long-term care. 65%. There are 76 million baby boomers in this country right now in USA. 76 million. And we are short 1.4 million beds right now of assisted senior living and memory care in this country. And as we move into that, 4,000 people are turning 85 every night, and 11,200 are turning 65 every night. It's just mind boggling what is fixing to happen in the next 30, 40, 50 years. It's going to totally change the spectrum, the products, the whole demographical shifts, the migrations, the housing needs, everything will be changing.
yeah, and also I believe what will change too is average life expectancy. So you can
Yes.
go and pull data, Mexico versus US life expectancy. We live longer according to what I saw, and that's
Yep.
probably because we have better medical, more money, and better
Yep.
food because we can afford it in general. It's an economic thing in a lot of countries, life
So true.
expectancy. Some of it is you get to certain countries and they live longer than us because they don't have the stress we do. But my thesis then on what you're saying is with all this happening and people and that life expectancy going from 77 to 82 to 85, nationally or throughout the US,
Yep.
what that's going to create, I think, even more demand than what they're realizing because at some point with our medicine and the way care is that we're going to live a lot longer. And I don't think they're
Yeah.
bracketing for that. They're just bracketing in general because of
Mhm.
the population. So I think this is a great industry to be in. A lot of the businesses Vinny had mentioned, I'll add, are like residential assisted living. If you're got your license and stuff, it is SBA eligible. So that means you can get up to 90% of total project costs funded.
Wow.
And if it's a startup, sometimes they'll be a little bit more, they'll scrutinize maybe 80 or 85% loan to
Mhm.
cost. Boutique motels are SBA fundable. So
Yeah.
a lot of these food groups are you can get high leverage financing for too. So you don't necessarily need to be super loaded. You could be an average person,
Yep.
W-2 right now, and maybe you're a nurse and you're like, hey, I like this. I could do this. I have the
Mhm.
connections. We see people like that, right? You have contacts that grew from one house. Now they have 4 or 5 residential assisted living facilities, and each one of them putting
Yes.
15 or 20 grand in your pocket per month. Okay.
That.
It doesn't take many of those houses to create a nice cash flow machine.
Yes.
And my thought process, what's going to happen, Vinny, and it probably already is happening, is there's going to be large conglomerates that come and buy these up from people, and they'll run them professionally at some point, right?
Mhm.
And then it'll be, because it's fragmented right now. What happens when there's a lot of money to be made? Private equity comes into it, right?
Big
So
institutions come
actually,
in.
we're going to
Yep.
sell our portfolio eventually to a private equity company, I bet you. And they'll like what we're doing because we'll do a cluster in Arizona, we'll do a cluster in Vegas, we'll do a
Yep.
cluster in Washington, all on one coast or wherever. It could be nationally, but then they'll come in and they'll use their, they like that stuff, right? They wouldn't just buy one house, but they will
No,
buy 20 or 50 houses.
sure.
All right,
Totally.
that's the opportunity that nobody's talking about. I just thought about that.
No, that's so true. So true. Again, economies of scale. The beauty I like in RALs, I never looked into it. It behaves like 10-unit building. To have a 10-unit building where I get a rent of $1,300 per unit, or I get a single family home. There are 10 rooms, and each room gives you 7,000 or 6,000 monthly rent. Of course, the expenses are there. Operation is a big thing. Occupancy, operations. I'm not going to be operating them, but there are operators who are passionate, and one operator can take care of 3 of these homes. Easy, 3 to 4. So that's 40 unit can be done in that way. And now I'm ready to, in Arizona area, Scottsdale area, ready to get 20 unit, 30 unit, 50 unit. Up to 50 unit is where I'm going with it. And then I got a new name now, brand new name, Desert Bloom Homes is my new company over there. And then it'll be Desert Bloom at Desert Cove, the one I'm buying. It's closing next week. Then there'll be Desert Bloom, whatever, whatever. So it'll be cluster and building the brand. You're right.
I
Yes.
love that. All right, guys, there's a lot of opportunities in 2024. There's a lot of
Yes.
opportunities. One is, if you don't have much money right now, just step up your game,
Yep.
educate yourself, and reinvest that education and just do little things each day. That video that you didn't want to do that you put out there, right? Like you can start there. That's investing. You're
Hmm.
not getting maybe money today, but that you're investing that, like when I set out and I did my YouTube channel, and I
Uh-huh.
didn't get any business for the first 100 or 200 videos. I have over 1,300 videos now, and I could tell you that YouTube channel makes me well over 6 figures a year now, well
Love.
over, and it'll eventually make me 7 figures a year. I can
Yep.
almost guarantee you that. But it's just being consistent, and so
Yep.
just be consistent, show up, and then when you find something, be ferocious, right? When Vinny found this, he honed in on it, this and that, like he wanted it, right? He went and he's okay. Part of it is instinct in the beginning, and then it's
Hmm.
okay. Let's like do due diligence as best as we can,
Yes.
and in a short period of time, and let's just do it. And then now you'll build your systems and processes, and once you do the first one and you understand the whole
Exactly.
process, then it's now you can do 2, 3, 4 at a
Yes.
time, and then
Hmm.
we got some scale going. So, anyways, guys, I hope this motivated you a little
We
bit.
hope so. We hope so. Please join us, like us, comment, and give us 5-star reviews. It always helps because, see, we would love to bring guests also. If anybody connected with franchising business or solid business in boutique hotels or assisted livings, RALs, reach out to Beau and I. Love to have you. If you have some things to share, some good ideas with the audiences, we'd love to invite you and ask you. Thanks again, and we'll see you next episode. Thank you, Beau. You
See you
take care.
later.
Beau and I are together to really bring the best to get your business to the next level.
So do me a favor, subscribe and share. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to connecting with you in the future.